Ya empezar. And we are here once again, another episode of Shader Brown Podcast. Good morning, everyone. And as you can see, Irvin and myself, we're wearing Christmas sweaters, ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yep.
And if you join us on YouTube, we have a guest.
Who?
We have two guests. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have here in the Vine
Yes.
podcast.
Yes.
We have Melissa and Denise.
Yes. Or Denichi, as I like to call her.
Denichi.
I'm just-
And they're also wearing ugly sweaters.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Thank you, Yessi, for lending me your sweater. You're here with us today.
Yeah, I know. You guys have two other co-hosts, right?
Yes, we have two other co-hosts. Their names are Yessi and Shekinah, which unfortunately couldn't be here today, but we're definitely carrying them here in our hearts.
Yeah, representing.
Yeah.
And here.
Yeah. And here, yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so let me give you guys a little backstory how I know in the Vine. I was helping, you guys with your podcast, with your audio and video for a while.
Yes.
When you guys were like the early days of In the Vine.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. It was cool. Do you want to?
No, yeah, you came through. It was just such a divine appointment and connection. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's good to connect. It's hard to do things by yourself, especially when you're first starting out and learning. And it's good to have someone who, not to say like, oh, I know everything, but like someone who knows,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm still learning. Irvin shows me a lot of things, he's the more professional one than me. And yeah, like I'm glad I was able to help you
Dude,
on
yeah,
your beginning journey.
for sure. You came in like right at the perfect time too.
Yeah.
I got your message on Insta. And we're pretty skeptical, like a group of girls, right? And then Shekinah's like, dude, like we can do it, it's fine. And then the rest of us were like, nah, we need help.
Yeah.
And then Ramsey comes in with all his equipment and we have like stars in our eyes. We're like,
Yeah.
what is happening? And so we were just
Yeah.
so grateful to like work with you during that
Hell
time for
yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
you taught us a lot. And
Yeah.
you were such a great encourager. I think most importantly was that I think your encouragement and just having like an outside perspective
Yeah.
is what really helped us like just bridge everything. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. And I'm glad. I'm not a gatekeeper.
Right.
And whatever I learned along the way, and especially someone who, when you guys were barely starting out, and if there's any tips I could give, I'm gonna tell you, because it's like I said, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a learning curve. In the beginning, it is like a trial and error phase.
Lots
know?
of errors.
Lots.
Who's the one that's taking care of now the technical end of the pod?
It's me for
Oh.
the most part. Yeah, it's me. I do the editing and the putting together, and then Shekinah goes in and she's like the final. She goes through it again. Like there's times that I forget to like edit out certain things, and she catches them. Thank God for her. And then she creates like our online content for the most part. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It's a group effort then.
Nice.
Okay, that's cool.
Nice. All right. And okay, so we got In the Vine in the house. So what is it? Your podcast. What do you guys aim for?
It's a local podcast.
It's a local podcast. Yeah. By the way, yeah. Good
Yes.
call.
It is a local podcast, but we are international. Check the RSS feed. So Denise, I'll
No,
let you
go
answer
ahead.
this. Okay, all right.
It's your baby.
It is my baby.
It is her baby.
Within the Vine, what I guess our niche is more than anything. We started out as speaking to singles more than anything because we are Christian. We are a Christian podcast, and so we speak from a biblical worldview. And so with in Christianity, we like. I don't know how deep to get with this, right? But in Christianity, like it's just been a little bit weird in the dating scene. You find everything from like, the traditional guy that's like, barefoot and pregnant in the house to the guy that's like the woman in the relationship. And so there's such a big wide spectrum. And so in order to be able to find or to lie, right? But I thought that in order to be able to find somebody, I would have to go to like outside of the church.
Yeah.
And so then I went outside of the church and I was like, that is not a good look. It's just as bad out here.
Yeah.
And so we started with In the Vine creating, events to be able to foster an area for people to be able to come, and Christians of like mind that are normal to be able to come together and hopefully meet somebody or create friendships. And from there, In the Vine podcast started. And we started talking about just everything from dating to relationships, whether it be friendships, mentors, peers, just anything that really touches on a biblical worldview.
Yeah.
And I really dig that. Not only there, you guys have pushed through, like being consistent with your episodes and your content, and even, and that's why, like, I told you guys, you know what, let's do a collab, and I'm not gonna say that just to anybody. If I don't see the consistency, I'm not gonna hit you up, try to do an episode together,
What was the actual thought process of actually starting the pod? Because she said that it was your...
Oh yeah, the actual. Please tell. Okay, you can tell the story because this involves Shekinah.
What part?
The part when we started with the podcast.
I don't remember.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so the podcast was Shekinah again. We were just talking. We're talking about the events because we originally started wanting to do singles mixers.
Yeah.
And so like.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So then we had a group chat and we were like blowing it up, and Shekinah was like, "I have an idea. Let's do a podcast." Literally within days, we had like a dilapidated microphone. We had we were like speaking into boxes so that there wouldn't be any echo. And we were just like, let's just talk. And if you guys go back and listen to it, it sounds, it sounds terrible. But the thought process was just like, let's use this as advertisement. And it ended up being a place where we can highlight voices in our community.
Which we did,
Which we've done and we absolutely love, which is why we love working with Shade of Brown Pod. Because they're about highlighting the community, right? And Men of Action. I mean, they told us about they left a comment on our Instagram maybe like less than a week ago where they were like, oh, let's collab. And then a few days later, Ramsey was like, hey, like, so we want to get you like in the studio within days. And I was like, dude, like, that's awesome. That is people of action, right?
Absolutely.
And so with starting the podcast, it was just that. It was just us having so much in our heart, wanting to serve and wanting to impart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you had said a singles mix?
Singles mixer.
So there you go.
I'm like, where is this coming from?
Okay.
He's like, where's my invite?
I'm like, is it like speed dating? What's going on here?
All right. First of all, let me just say, we started with the singles mixer, okay? Everybody's like, oh my gosh.
But that's something new. Like, I've never heard of this. Like, where does this even come from? Like,
Irvin has only heard business mixers.
yeah, exactly. That's kind of like in my head. I'm like, singles mixer. Like, how does that even go about? Like, was someone lonely that you knew about that you were trying to connect with?
She was the lonely.
Oh, that all makes sense now. Okay, gotcha.
She saw a need and she wanted to create a
Oh,
solution.
so she's like, let me create my own event so it won't be too awkward. I'm a part of the event, and let me get all the single guys. Gotcha. All right, I gotcha.
You got it.
All right.
We can shut this down already. You got
Genius.
We can end the pod now.
Right? Supply and demand. I needed the supply.
I am the demand and
All
the
right.
supply.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha.
But that's a really good idea, though. But you have, like, it's not just anybody showing up, though.
Oh, correct.
There's like a resume, a questionnaire going through.
Actually, yes, because we have our wonderful Denise here who keeps us out of jail, as we like to say, right? And so then she had us go through a whole vetting process. What did that look like?
Yeah, I mean, we just obviously created a form basically stating, like the rules that we were trying to abide by, just trying to keep everybody safe, obviously. But yeah, there is definitely a vetting process that took place because we don't want creepers, right? I mean, we live in a crazy world. So just making sure that we could weed out as many creepers. And this is for men and women, not because it was mixer was obviously for both, right? So we're not discriminating against one sex. It's both. So yeah, just definitely a vetting process and basically weeding out the bad ones and hopefully the good ones came, but they did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And was it a success? Is that too far to ask or?
No, it was a success in certain ways, right? So there was people that made connections, but unfortunately, we don't have control over the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
But so there weren't many romantic connections that were made, but I can say that some of the people that showed up For example, there's been some that we've helped not just in the dating area, but also as far as getting jobs, which was crazy.
resumes.
Yeah, because
So it was a business mixer.
Yeah.
All right. I should have gone.
Yeah, because where the core of it, the heart of it, was to take the awkward out of dating and the awkwardness out of meeting people, right? Because in today's day and age, like it's such a
Fast-paced.
It's so fast paced.
Yeah.
And if you don't slow down and if you don't like even value yourself and you're like, hey, I'm worthy of receiving somebody that I feel compatible with, then people can really get lost in that. And that's the reason why relationships are really non-existent nowadays, right?
Okay.
It's so hard to find dates or whatever.
And by any chance, did you have like a questionnaire after the mixer as far as like, just a review and like, after a month or two, what was the, was it consistent on the dating, or what could have they done better, or, the event could have done better to even vet the people to come through, or even invite more people for the following, if you had another one?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, we did. We had it right after the event though, which I like your idea of having it like 2 months after. That probably would have been really good. But we had it right after, and we did get some feedback. Some of it was valid. And as far as like, because what we did is that we had the men approach the woman and be like, hey, like we want to pursue something with you, right? And we made it purposeful as far as that goes. And so for some of the men, it was a little bit daunting for them to have to do that. And so they preferred for it to be a little bit more private and being able to share information or that, because if they go to somebody and they get shut down, like it's not like they can go to their next pick, which I mean,
They can. They can.
I bet. Si son descarados, like, yeah.
Yeah, they will. Even if they aren't, they will be more discreet, but they will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had that kind of feedback.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what was really cool about the mixer is that that's how we evolved.
Okay.
Because we learned so much from it. We learned that what like needs were in the community, especially like in the singles, right? Which is how we were able to help somebody find a job, build resumes. Like, it's crazy how something like you wouldn't think, right?
Yeah,
like
so evolved to something else.
Right.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. So which is why we've done what we're doing now, and that's just bringing in different facets of life.
Gotcha.
Into
And
the podcast.
you had mentioned it was a Christian mixer.
Yes.
So having it being kind of somewhat religious, I guess, was there any feedback towards that end as far as like, were there people that weren't religious that showed up? Was just basically an event that they heard about, like, hey, I'm single and I just want to go.
Yeah.
Was there any aspects in that kind of like structure? Or is everybody religious that day?
Well,
Was there a guy that came in like, I'm Will, God's will? Yeah.
they should have. They probably could have won some points for whatever. But I think, levels of religion are so different, right?
Yeah.
Somebody can say, oh, I have a walk with God, and they don't go to church, and to them they're being religious. So I think it depends on how you would define it, but according to having some sort of spirituality that we vetted, right, where it's like you're going consistently to church, you serve at church, you're plugged in. So those were part of the questionnaire. And so, everybody was religious because that was the goal of it, right? The world has so many options. I mean, there's, I get, just because for research, right? I see many different like speed dating and all those things, and they're at bars. And so Christians, like, we're not
Being represented.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so
Okay.
I think it was a good niche.
All right. And
I
what was
literally was going to say that.
What
Yeah,
was the
niche.
one thing that I guess you heard from men? Because I feel like men are the ones that are getting castrated right now as far as like approaching women, and they're being a little bit more timid, even the idea of even dating, because now we live in social media, so everything's so fast, instant gratification. And then of course women are the ones being approached, not only online but in person. So men in back of their head are like, well, even if I talk to her, doesn't mean she's just talking to me.
Yeah.
So as far as like events like that, what were your guys' like experience as far as like talking to men afterwards, as far as like, I do like her or I want to date her, but I'm scared, and whatever their answers were. Was there anything as far as like feedback from the men?
Yeah. Sorry, I know I'm taking a lot of questions, but Denise was over in Ohio during this time. And so, but in our findings and all these things, so one of the things also that we set out to do with this, right, is to give space for men to be men.
Yeah.
Okay.
There
Because
you go.
of that same reason, right?
Okay.
And so that's why we put the responsibility on the man. We told them right before they showed up, it's like, hey, if you want to make sure that you show up with your information, make sure you show up with
Better
a
bring
card.
that game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're literally setting you up for success here. Like this is pro men, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so we did that. And, you know, there was some men that I'm not going to lie, they were shy, they were timid. But if I can just be honest, the one that I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know how it's going to go for him. He was like what we would call our shining star. Like he showed up and he was ready. He showed up with I don't remember if he wore a suit or not. I don't remember. But he showed up like dressed to the nines.
Fresh cut.
Yeah. And the men, like there were other men that had shown up already, but they were like talking amongst themselves while there was already single women there, like already.
What?
Yeah. And so we're just like, what in the world? But he showed up and right away he
Ready.
went to go shake their hands. He was
Ready.
like, hey, like, what's
You
up?
got the ring already.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah,
I
he did. Probably.
Yeah.
But you know, because I agree. You know, we agree. It's one of the main topics that we discuss on In the Vine, which is like, you know, men don't have that much opportunity to be men. But one of the questions that we also pose, it's like, all right, well, men that are men shouldn't need the permission to be men. Like you guys are leaders by nature.
Yeah.
And so waiting for a woman to allow you the space to become a man, like that's kind of whack.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Is it a generational thing, or do you see it more in the 35s, the 40s, the 45s? Because I'm a man, but I don't talk to men about relationships
Right.
yeah.
unless
He
they
never
ask me.
talks to me. He never
Yeah.
talks to me about
Open
it.
up to Ramsey.
Open up.
Bro, I yell at this fool. That's what I do.
Ramsey, we're gonna be
Yeah.
praying for you, bro.
I yell at him.
Doing
I don't
Lord's
tell him.
work.
I'm like, bro.
To be honest, personal opinion, I think that we see it more with our generation.
Yeah.
But I think it's a societal thing, right?
Yeah.
I think we're seeing what social media has done to men. Like, unfortunately, certain movements have caused men
Yeah.
to be afraid
Yeah.
and go against their own wiring, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it is a very generational thing, which is
Okay.
why we're trying to reverse that, right? By doing so, it's like being a voice, like, hey, like, it's okay to be a man. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm married now, right?
Yeah.
But for my single friends,
Where's the clapping, bro?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Wait.
It's a rarity now.
I'm married too, okay? So it's for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so my husband is very alpha.
Okay.
But he's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, Rams, you've met him, haven't you?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
you have.
yeah.
But so there's this beautiful bridge of like men can be men, but there's this beautiful dynamic of still being like taking care of the woman the way that she should be taken care of, right? So and that's part of why In the Vine podcast has a mix of single and married women, because it's like we want to show women like, yes, you can be single, but look, there's marriages that you can, I'm not saying you want to be exactly like that, but there's examples, right,
Yeah.
of what this looks like so you don't feel like it's never possible.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Almost like a mentorship.
yes, exactly.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like on my end, because I am single, but I do
See
date
single people,
right?
ladies.
Hey,
Right.
In the Vine, what up? Call me friends.
I think the one thing that I've noticed as far as like in my
Sorry.
this guy.
There was like a dust right
yeah,
here. and I was
yeah,
just, I'm kidding. Okay.
As far as like when the way that I go about things, it's because I'm 36 now, so I'm not young anymore, but I'm not old anymore.
Yeah.
So I have the experience as far as like my past experience. So I
Right.
kind of learned from that, and then now going into my current experience, it's a little bit different. The way that I move, and I guess the boundary, even the I guess age gaps between. I guess the age that I kind of go after, which I normally go for like the 28, maybe 31-year-old, because at one point I want to have a family.
Right.
So if I date someone my age, it's almost like we have to get married tomorrow because we need to have kids tomorrow, that kind of thing.
I mean,
So it's not right. It's not that I'm discriminating. So it's just a different format that I'm kind of applying.
Yeah.
And of course, my boundaries are a little bit different. So
Right.
for me, it's almost like I know what I want.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's harder to get that because now I guess my perception as far as like dating is a lot different. It's not
Right.
like we're going to be friends first and then we're going to acquaintances and
What's your
hopefully
favorite color?
that kind of thing, right?
Right.
It's more of like, hey, if this is direct. These are what I want. These are my non-wants, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't follow,
Yeah.
then okay. But what you had mentioned as far as like the castrating of men, it's
Right.
more current that it is discouraging.
Right.
Luckily, I have thick skin, so I don't really care. So
Right.
for me, it's almost like I'll approach, and if you reject, cool.
Right.
I don't have an
Next.
issue.
Yeah.
But I do have friends that are guys that do fall into the almost like, I don't want to do it anymore because I've been rejected so many times and so frequently that my self-esteem has now gone so low that I don't even know who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think right now what we have to do as far as like just as a society, because what you guys are doing is you guys are approaching it conversation.
Yeah.
And I think it has to come from women now because it kind of came from women, the castration,
Right.
but now it has to flip the coin where
Right.
like, hey, it's okay to be a man
Right.
because at the end of the day, women want men.
Yes.
They want the man that is able to service,
Right.
but not the man that follows a woman.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that word "follow" it's almost like
It's like taboo, huh?
yeah,
like
it's
bad
very
word.
poisonous to the I guess the current modern woman, that wants to see everything equal, which is fine. But once again, there's differences between each
Right.
parties that we have to follow. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents as far as like what you guys are, I guess, talking about on your pod.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Irvin, like, he knows what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Knowing Irvin for about what, 2 years
2
now?
years?
2 years now?
Oh,
yeah.
you guys just met?
Yeah.
like 2
Oh,
years.
wow.
Well,
yeah.
we've known of each other, but we didn't know each other.
Got it.
we just
Yeah.
That'll
we
preach.
we were like in the same room, but we didn't know.
Yeah.
Got it.
Got
We've
it.
been in the same room before.
Yeah.
and which is like connected the dots
Weird. It
back
was
then.
weird. It was
And
weird.
yeah,
I was like,
that's
you were
how-
that one guy.
yeah, like that. That's how it went. But I'm glad I like to see the growth, your mission,
Right.
like with the in the vine, what you guys doing over there?
Thank you.
Yeah.
And have you guys gotten any feedback as far as your topics and stuff from like your listeners? I would say.
Yeah. Honestly, I think like 80% has always been positive and all that good stuff. I think the negative ones are the stragglers on YouTube, that are just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. When we get more personal with our stories, that's usually when the critics come in.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Which is kind of odd when you think about it, because it's like, how can you
Yeah.
criticize somebody else's story? It's like, come on.
Yeah.
But anyway, nonetheless, I digress. But yeah, we get some pretty good feedback. But one of the things that I think we're trying to do nowadays is because we want to be more purposeful and more intentional, and I think that we are, but like expand as far as like the people that don't necessarily think like that. Because it can be really easy to be like link up with people that are similar to you, but it's discussions like this, right? Discussions that with people that don't get along with you. Like that's why in our panel, we have such diverse personalities,
Yes.
and sometimes we're like, like I don't agree with what you're saying for this same reason. And so even in the panel, we make sure that we bring in different life stories, that we bring in different perspectives, always bringing it down again to the Word of God, because we all live by that. But sometimes we have our own, life experience.
Right.
And so other people and the criticism or the feedback that we've gotten pretty much stems from that. It's people that are hurt,
Okay.
people that are
Yeah.
encouraged.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Some of the things or feedback that I've personally received is thank you for touching on topics that most people wouldn't dare.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so I live for those types of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Like I love being different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
So because I realize that there's like a lot of people that may think the way we think, but are afraid
Yeah.
to voice it because of the repercussions.
Do you
or
see it more on the women's side or the men's side as far as like the repercussions?
well, honestly, I would say I speak more with women. So for me personally, it would be more women that I have interactions with.
Okay.
I don't know if I have any male. I think I've gotten like 2 or 3 male perspectives.
Okay.
Same thing. Thank you for saying things that we're thinking,
But we
right?
can't say
But
it.
we can't say.
Yeah.
So I can honestly say that that's been like the census, at least as far as that's concerned from the men.
Okay.
But like I said, my interaction is more with women.
What's the most controversial topic that you guys actually brought up?
Oof. Which one?
Walking on eggshells. Huh? Yeah.
Which one is it? Would you say divorce?
I think divorce.
Divorce.
Divorce?
That could easily trigger people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of our panelists is she's divorced,
Oh, okay.
and so I think that has
Yeah.
by far been one of the most controversial.
Like as far as like going through the divorce or staying in a marriage and waiting to get divorced too late?
I think all of it.
Oh, okay. Just the topic in divorce.
Yes,
general.
I think divorce in Christianity is such a tough topic,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
for us, that's been our experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think honestly too, the gender roles. Because for example, I'm a stay-at-home wife. I'm a homemaker. Sorry, I'm a homemaker. And so, but I'm involved in a lot of things in the community, right? But so even the gender roles themselves tend to be, because of the generation we're in, tends to be very taboo.
Yeah.
Because of like equal rights. And it's like, guys, like, since when is being a homemaker not an equal right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think those two by far have been some, at least for me personally, have been some of the most controversial topics.
Okay. And do you get it from women though?
Yeah.
Really?
Believe it or not, I get it a lot from women.
The younger girls, I would say?
Yeah.
Or
Trigger.
do you have any that you would say are around the same age?
Not necessarily. I would say more so the younger ones, like in the 20s.
Okay.
The ones that are just starting out.
Yes, the ones that are just starting.
That haven't had that experience.
That
Well,
haven't
I
had
think
an
it makes
experience.
sense though if they're the ones with the most questions and commenting or whatever or being triggered because they're the ones learning. They're testing the waters. They're putting their feet in the water barely.
And
Yeah.
I think you're so inundated with the music secular of like I can do it all. I'm independent, and so it's such a cultural thing, right? You have music, you have things are being taught in school, so
The movies, social media, marketing,
right? So everything is just coming against the, I guess the
traditional gender roles.
Traditional, yeah.
Okay. And I guess because I guess the way that me and Rans became friends is because conversations, like people, for some reason, I'm fairly quiet. Like I'm like introvert, but for some reason people gravitate towards me and I have conversations regardless of like age, regardless of gender, regardless of culture, regardless of, skin color. And I do have a couple of women that are business women that do talk to me about relationships. And for the most part, it's not the most positive.
Right.
It's always I could live by myself forever. I could have my own babies without a man, that kind of, those kind of topics.
Right.
And I do bite my tongue, until I feel comfortable enough where I could speak out, as far as like, okay, these are just my opinions, but don't get angry. Cause I've had conversations with people where I've said for me, it's just like, it's just factual, like we need two people, to create a family, to have a healthy family. There's differences, like you can't do it all, even though you guys are better at multitasking,
right?
But there's certain things that I would be better at,
Absolutely.
if to become a father, I know there's certain structures and I guess certain things that I know I'll implement into my kids that I know you could, but it won't be in a male.
It won't be as effective as a male.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Exactly. Coming from somebody who has 3 daughters, the things that my husband's able to do with or teach them are things that I could probably do, but it wouldn't be as effective as what my husband does. So absolutely, dads are so important in the home. I mean, even statistically speaking, right? You see that if a father's not in the home, kids are more likely to end up in prison, end up to be sexually active at a very young age. So there is such an importance in the father role that unfortunately it's been taken away, right? Which is part of what our advocacy and our voice is. It's like, no, guys, like, you guys are important. And I love what you said, right? Because I think the feminist movement came in and it was a woman's voice that trashed men. And therefore we need to reverse that. And so that's been in my heart for a very long time. Like that was one of the first conversations her and I had was like, if I think part of my life mission is to reverse that curse of men are not needed. And because I was like that, I was very like, I don't need a man. Like I got this on my own. Like I can do it, and it's like now that I'm married and it's like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful dynamic of having somebody to love, like a best friend you can do life with.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's work, but it's beautiful. And it's like, I just wish that women would see the beauty in what God created for a male and female to come together and be this beautiful family dynamic.
No, I agree. I do like the way that you're talking. It's a format that I'm fairly familiar with.
Right.
But like you were saying, it's fairly taboo to speak out about it.
Yeah.
I do talk to my friends or even people that I feel like I just want to trigger them. I'll just say it out loud. But it's just for fun, right? Like it's just for fun.
Yeah.
But it's just unfortunate that we're in this position of life because we are now dealing with a lot of lonely people, both sides, I would say.
Absolutely.
Women do have more attention, but they're still lonely. Men are just lonely in general.
Right.
And I'm like, we have to stop catering to, I guess, what other people are wanting us to be catered to. Because at the end of the day, for me, it's just they want us to buy things. they want you to be feeling lonely so that you could consume other things, whether it just be on your phone, on your iPad, on your TV, which is entertainment, but then also consuming materials. Hey, you feel lonely? Go buy this so you could fulfill certain, aspects of your life. Or if not, you feel like your nurturing side's not, I guess, being taken care of by a cat, by a dog, by a bird, by a snake, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And of course, men are kind of going more into the aggression side where they don't know how to implement their emotions anymore because once again, they're being rejected and they're being told, hey, this is not the way that you should be acting.
Yeah.
You should be more submissive or you should be the follower. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, it sounds nice, but it doesn't look nice, because it's very unattractive.
It is. And I'm going to just say something right now. I don't care. You can stone me, but women want a man that can lead.
Yeah.
A leader.
A leader. It's in our nature. Like we really do. Now, obviously, if there's an issue with that, there's some kind of brokenness in us, right? Obviously, we didn't have a good male role model, but by nature, we want somebody to lead.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife has told me, he's like, I've always wanted someone I can submit to.
I like his wife. She's really smart.
She's just a little too smart.
Yeah.
I'm like, I spoke to her, I think at the Friendsgiving. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. She's smart. I'm like, she's really smart.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, just a little side note, like when I used to help on your podcast, I learned a lot. I'll be there listening and doing the switcher. I'll be like,
He's forgetting to switch.
Damn. Yeah. And there was even one episode, I forgot what really was the topic, like the things you go through in relationships and all that, right? And it really got me. It really got me like deep.
You cried?
And I right after that, when we packed up, when this episode's over, and I was driving home, and I called my wife right away, like, I love you, and like this and that, and like we've been through it heavy.
See, I want to make fun of him now.
but
the man inside of me wants to make fun of me right now.
So you're the problem.
But that was just like just to show you guys like the type of content you guys have.
Yeah.
And it really reaches out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And, I really want to touch on something that you said, when you were discussing your friends and how, because of all the rejection that they've gone through, that they feel like they don't know who they are anymore. And even tying that back to what you said about like the consuming and all those things, like one of the things that I think would help men, and right, I'm a woman, so I don't know exactly, but I think, right? And I think this actually goes for both men and women. It's like the moment that you realize God's design for your life, I think that's the moment where you begin to look at the world differently, right? So as men, right, when you go for the woman, when you're like, okay, I think this one can be a good pick or whatever, it's not just so much about, the finances. It's not so much about like the immediate stuff. It's about legacy, right? And so in the podcast, we constantly talk about legacy. And so when you set out to choose someone, when you set out to do the things, right, it's like going forward with that mind that you are carrying a legacy inside of you. And so if somebody has rejected you, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with you. And I'm not saying like, don't work on yourself, right? Like if you're not healthy, go to the gym. Like if you don't have a job, get a job.
Right.
And if it's just like a part-time job, get a good job.
Yeah.
Like, there's this thing about men that men are built to do the hard things.
Yeah.
And so, so being rejected is a hard thing. I'm not, it hurts. But at the same time, it shouldn't echo who you are as a person. And so I think, and one of the things that we're constantly talking about is God's original design, because what you're talking about, what Denise is talking about, is the way that God intended it from the beginning of time, right? And so, to those men that are out there and they feel like, hey, you know what, like, and this might sound kind of like rah-rah, like motivation or whatever. And I don't mean to sound sappy, but it really is like, it comes down to the nitty gritty. And that is like, hey, keep doing the hard things. Sooner or later, you're going to find the one that's like there, you know what I mean? And she's going to be just as tough or be just as soft or whatever the case may be. And then you're going to be able to build your own legacy. And so don't let society dictate the outcome of your legacy. Like that's one of the dumbest things that you can possibly do. Because the world is so against the family aspect, and it's not just this immediate, right? But it's because what children are meant to do. They're meant to bring healing, and then you raise them up and they create new generations and all that stuff. So, if you got rejected, move on, man.
Right.
Suck it up, butterfly.
Suck it up, yeah.
I would say it's easier said than done.
Absolutely.
I'm
Sure.
not going to say that we're made out of stone.
Right.
I do preach being stoic.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys fall into the idea that being stoic is being a stone, because I've spoken to guys and I'm like, hey, just work on that aspect so that you could understand how to initiate conversations a lot better if a rejection comes through, because they don't know how to actually talk. A lot of guys don't know how to actually speak what they want to say out loud. They feel, but they don't know how to actually express it, which is basically most men in general. But now, of course, we're going through the dynamic where the woman is the one that is the hierarchy of everything, and the man is like, okay, I'm here, I'm at my tier, but I don't know how to navigate, because I feel like they're telling me that she is better because of her beauty, because of her age, because of her income, because of her status, and I'm over here just trying to be me, right?
Survive.
Just trying to survive.
As I'm hearing you speak, one thing that I think men need to know is that a woman loves a confident man, right? So you might not have all these things, right? Because everybody has to start somewhere,
Right.
But if you carry confidence and you are confident in what you're doing, women are attracted to that because it's in that confidence that we know, one, we're safe, two, whatever you set your mind to, you're gonna accomplish.
Yeah.
And that's what a woman wants,
agree.
So that, and another thing is, I think, and we're huge on this, is men make men, right? So if you are one of those that has fallen victim to society, to the pressures, to the rejection, start looking for men that are what you aspire to be, right? And hang out with them. See what it is to be confident. What does that look like, right? Make yourself more marketable. You know what I mean? So I think that a lot of the times men are focused on the things when it's more of the character, right? Because I know that my husband's not exactly where he needs to be, but I know he will be because he demonstrates through his character that he's a go-getter, he's confident, whatever he sets his mind to, he will accomplish.
Yeah. Pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Absolutely.
That's a bar right there.
Right. I would say the things also build character, because the things could be materialistic, but sometimes we aspire to get small things. Like a lot of kids are very into video games right now. A lot of things are just basic things that are just $2, $5. I'm like, no, go for the 500, go for the 500,000, build that character so you could then get not the instant gratification, but get that long-term character that once again will aspire, or I guess will gain that character that I would say is attracted to the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's what they do in their podcast right there.
And the Van Canary.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also, there's a couple other things I want to bring up too, the podcast, topics on this episode. But before we do, I have a little surprise for Irvin. For Irvin.
What is it?
We're going to continue on, but just...
You've been set up.
He's going to baptize me.
Have you ever seen Nacho Libre?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
believe
just
in
pictured.
science.
But, it is the season of giving.
Oh my gosh. I'm so
I'm nervous for you.
And Irvin, you've been a good friend to me, bro.
Why are you touching me?
And he's been a big help in my times of when I needed to talk to another person, another
I'm a
man.
better listener than a talker.
But he's helped me out. He's an ear, to talk to.
I do that. What you're doing, I just do.
But I got a little gift for you right here.
I'm so nervous.
It's a ring.
He's off the market.
It is like,
It's a ring.
Open it, bro.
All right, let's see what it is.
am I going to
I
cry?
got you a necklace
All right.
with your letter.
Aww.
There you go, bro.
That is so sweet.
That is so nice.
There you go, bro. I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, man.
No.
All right.
Aw,
right.
Did you get me something?
Now, thanks for making me look bad, Ramsey.
I'll put it under the Christmas tree.
There you go. Put it on.
I'll act surprised on Christmas. Thanks, Rams.
Yeah, bro. I want to do it on the pod so that way it's on the record so you can't say I never give him anything.
All right.
He takes it back. I saw a receipt in there.
Yeah. So, okay. So, I want to talk about this other thing. Like I said, it is the season of giving. It's the Christmas time, it's the holidays, whether you celebrate or not. But one thing is remaining that happens to a lot of guys and women is seasonal depression / loneliness. You know, and you know, a lot of singles out there, and they're probably going on their Instagram and they see a couple out and about, you know, Christmas tree or whatever, you know, and that makes them feel certain type of way. You know, I know when I was single, it made me feel like that. You know,
Not me. I'm like, bro, I'm broke this year. I'm glad I don't got a girl.
Way to be stoic. Okay.
And it's tough. It's a beautiful season, but also a tough season for a lot of people. It's both.
Yeah.
And do you guys have anything like advice for that person, that single person that's feeling depression
Should
or
do another
loneliness,
singles mixer for the Christmas.
I should.
or during the
Well,
holiday?
Yeah.
shameless plug. Greater Works Christian Church. We're doing a
You
Christmas
actually
party.
are.
There you
They
go.
actually
We're doing
are.
a Christmas
There you
party
go.
coming up on Saturday,
All right.
and you can find it on our Instagram. But yeah, it's just a time for having fun. Shekinah's gonna be focusing. She's gonna be doing a mug painting. I'm gonna be there helping her out. So it'd be cool. Like, bring your first date. If you don't have a first date, come out and hang out with us. Like, we love to make friends.
There you go.
There you go. No more loneliness. No
Yeah.
more
Lonely,
depression.
I know.
Just go out there.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I think our church preaches a lot, especially like our main pastor, he's like, you know, and this is going to probably sound harsh to some people. And if it does, and I'm sorry, but it is the truth. Like, if you feel depressed and if you feel lonely, then you have the complete power to change your situation, right? Like, go out and serve, go out and get, you know, I know it sounds kind of very Hallmark, but go out and help the homeless people, right? Go to a homeless shelter if it really comes down to that, or pick up a friend, like call a friend and be like, hey, like, can I help you do something? I think it's those practical things that you can do so that you're not just at home, like, you know, just seething in your own loneliness and stuff, because it's not a forever thing. Like, I was just talking to my friend Jackie, and she's like, you know, you got to enjoy the season that you're in, right? Like, yeah, when you compare it to other people, it can suck. Like, be okay with the sucking. Like, life sucks. But decide that's your choice to sit and, man, this sucks. Or to be like, you know what? Like, I'm single right now. It's not going to be like that forever. Let me just go. Let me go and do something, right?
Make the best of it.
Make the best of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, even not just church, but even psychology has proven that depression is very selfish, because you're just focused on you.
You're dwelling.
You're dwelling on you as an individual. So when you give, even physically, I believe like your endorphins are go up. So you have like this natural high of I'm helping, I'm giving. And so now your brain remembers that. And so you're going to get into these patterns of wanting. It's going to take time, right? Because it took you a while to get into this depression mode. So, but if you start training or rewiring your brain for new habits, then you can pull yourself out of that place. So it goes back to give. Yeah. And that looks different for everybody, right? But go out, be about somebody else. Don't dwell on yourself. I'm not saying that there's not time where you can stop, assess, analyze, okay, why is my life like this? What can I do differently? But at this point, like, you can't stay stuck there, because then it's when you become a victim, right? So it's about giving back. It's about, let me be about somebody else's heart. And you really do get joy out of that, you know? And so if you continue to do that and make that a habit, then you can honestly pull yourself out of this state.
I remember 50 Cent said one time, like, anxiety, depression's all luxury. You got to get busy, because 50 Cent was broke, and he's like, I didn't have time to be depressed. I had to get out there and do something. It's a luxury.
I agree.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
and like you said, it's selfish, you know. Yeah, and it goes both. It goes along with when you said that, I don't know why I remember what 50 Cent said. You know,
But it's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's selfish in the means that it affects not just yourself, but the people around you. And I do agree what 50 Cent said. Just on the fact that I remember my first heartbreak, I think I was 20 or 21. And at the time I was broke, like super broke. I was going to college. The girl that I was dating, she had broken up with me because her parents were very in her ear about how I was an immigrant. I wasn't going to do anything with my life. So it was
Look at you now.
So it was a lot of like someone else in her ear, and she took it in. We dated for 3 years. So
wow.
all I knew since high school through college was consistent, always there. So I got used to that habit. So when we broke up, I'm like, man, like, what am I doing with my life now? So I had to rewire myself. And like you said, you have to build momentum.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a car back then. I didn't have a job because I didn't have social back then. So I couldn't even allow myself to enjoy the freedoms that I guess other people take for granted.
Right.
You know, like to travel, to buy things, to go hang out with friends if I needed to.
Yeah.
So I got my running shoes and I started running.
Oof.
That momentum was just literally all I needed.
I love running.
Yeah.
It's so freeing.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Go
So
ahead.
that was
He
my
actually runs.
yeah.
Yeah?
That
He
was
actually
my
runs.
meditation at the
Yeah.
time. So it was more of like, I can't sit in. I don't have the luxury, like what 50 Cent said.
Right.
I don't have
You're
that
one of the
luxury,
same. Yeah.
right? To
Right.
like feel sorry for myself. I have to move. Like whatever it is that is going on, it's gonna pass. But
Yeah.
it hurts, right? So
Yeah.
it's energy. It's internal. So let me do something about it.
And you did.
And I just like Forrest Gump ran.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Run, Forrest, run.
Right? I'm picturing it too,
Right?
right?
He was on the chair and just like,
Yeah.
all right, I need to run.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I'm sure it's probably not what people are bargaining for. Probably expecting like that. Oh, pobrecitos, you know.
Yeah, no.
But
No,
like,
you're
it's
feeding more for
it's
that
2024.
excuse.
Yeah, like we gotta move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love what you said though, right? Because you saw a problem and you provided a solution.
Yeah.
You were like, I don't have a car to go do this. I don't have a, but like you were still honored in what you were able to do because you took yourself out of that victim mindset. Instead of saying, woe is me, you're saying, you know what? I'm like 50 Cent, I don't have the luxury, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to tag 50 Cent.
Yeah. 50 Cent.
He's gonna come on the pod.
Okay, I'm gonna start
Invite him to
rapping. But you did something about it, right? To just get out of yourself. Because when you run, it's a vibe, man.
Exactly.
I love running. Your mind is somewhere else. Like you're putting your body into like this, like
Euphoria.
yeah, that's a good word. So yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, just I guess I was just quoting off, or I was going off, piggybacking off of what he said.
Shout out 50 Cent.
Yeah,
Okay, so I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the answer for that. Like the seasonal loneliness, depression.
Yeah.
You got to get out there. You have too much time in your hands,
Yeah.
you know, to start reflecting in the negative way like
Yes.
that. You know, so get out there, go freaking decorate a tree.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, do something positive.
yes.
So also it is, you know, I want to talk about more about Christmas because we are wearing ugly sweaters.
Yeah.
Mine's
And,
cute. I don't know what you're talking
Mine is too.
I like
Santa's
my sweater.
favorite. Yours is cool. Yours is not even
Yours
ugly.
is
Oh,
Darth
yeah.
Vader.
Vader.
That's not bad.
Mine's
Yeah.
Snoopy.
This was the only one I found at Target. Literally the only one.
What?
I was like, I want a medium. Nope, that was the only one.
Should have gone to Walmart.
Yeah.
I didn't want
I
to go to Walmart.
told
I didn't
you.
want to go to
I
Walmart.
told you.
No.
Are you too good for Walmart?
Yeah, I'm too good for
Okay,
Walmart.
my bad.
It was out of my way. I was like, I don't want to go to Walmart.
Yeah.
I live next to Target.
He literally said that.
Yeah.
He doesn't like going to
I
Walmart.
don't like going to Walmart.
He's bougie.
Yeah,
Everything's
he's
like
bougie.
everything's like in cages now.
Dude.
I'm like,
But
I'm
that's
like,
everywhere, unfortunately.
not the one on 47.
No?
The one on Target. It's still like open. I'm like, if I want deodorant, I just grab it.
Oh, I need to
Imagine
go
that.
there.
Yeah.
Dang, it's stuff out there. He's got to lock it up, dude.
Toothpaste. That was like toothpaste. Y'all
Right.
stealing toothpaste? Come on.
Shampoo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
wild.
it's wild.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What's the question?
Question though. This is the last question before we take a break. We
Okay.
take breaks over here.
Good.
What does Christmas mean to you? We'll start with Denise.
Christmas. Christmas for me means honestly just reflecting on who Jesus is and being with my family. We live such a fast-paced life, right? And I have 3 little girls. One's 8, 6, and 5. So just being able, like, you know, obviously my husband has like 2 weeks off. And so just being purposeful and slowing down and enjoying each other, honestly, is what Christmas is to me.
Beautiful. Melissa.
Can I diddle that? I don't know that I've ever
Copy and paste.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever thought about this. I mean, obviously, yeah, you know, it comes down to our Savior, right?
Yeah.
Of course, we know that. I feel like I always have to preface it because there's going to be somebody out there that's like, he wasn't born during this time.
Yeah, I know, right.
It's like, yeah, we know, okay?
Right.
But the symbolism, the symbolic of it all, you know, it's such a, it feels kind of just like a time of peace and joy and happiness. And so to me, it's just that I love how you said about the slowing down. I think it's just that reflecting and just being present with the people that are in your life in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well put.
Quite interesting.
What about
Urban?
for you guys?
What about Herman?
What about me?
Yeah,
I would say family.
family.
But that's like I'm fairly busy throughout the year where I don't even feel the year anymore. Like I still feel like it's the beginning of 2024. But literally, we're at the end of 2024.
Yeah, crazy.
Like, I did not feel the year at all. Like, I just wake up and I
we
go.
felt it.
Like, I just
Every
keep
day.
going. I keep going. And when it's holidays, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, or even New Year's, it's family. You know, like, that's the time that I'm like, okay, don't book anything.
Yeah.
Literally, you're going to stay home today. You're going to be with your niece and nephew, your sister, your brother-in-law, your mom and dad. That's it. Nothing else right now. Like, that's it. For me, it's everything when it has to do, I guess if I was going to define Christmas, it's family. That's it.
That's
That's good.
Yeah. For me, I agree with you. First and foremost is about Jesus. Just the fact that he was born here, you know, over here.
In Pondo?
the Lancaster.
Not over.
We have gotcha trees too.
I mean, we are in the desert. So but yeah, he's the center.
Yeah.
He's the centerpiece, and the spirit of giving. I have a hard time receiving gifts. Because I grew up, you know, fairly broke, poor. Didn't really get many things, you know, growing up, and I think because of that, I have a tough time receiving something. And now, like my wife, you know, the spirit of giving, she comes from like a more of a loving, more centered, how do you say, you know, family oriented, you know,
Yeah.
and not really me, you know, and she's teaching me all that, and she continues to teach me all that, and to be more that giving part of
Like receiving?
Receiving of the Christmas part.
I was going to kind of I'm going to go off topic a little bit, but I'm going to ask something similar to what you just mentioned. Because I agree and I disagree just on your answer afterwards. On the receiving as a man, because it's hard for men to receive for some reason. I have a hard time receiving, but it has nothing to do with.
You had a hard time accepting my gift.
Like, I've never gotten jewelry from another man. It was just very different for me. So but as far as like your husband, do you think it's the same concept?
My husband has a very hard time receiving.
Yeah, because even like celebrating birthdays or even like.
But he grew up very poor. He grew up in shelters.
Okay.
He grew up not having, and so he thrives off of giving.
Yes.
And that's my love language. I love to receive gifts. And so he's the same way. I think we had actually talked about that in one of our podcasts. It's really hard for him to receive like big time. Like I'm like, go buy yourself something. He's like, no, I'd rather just spend it on you or the girls. So I don't know. I was going to say, is it a guy thing?
I think it's a guy thing because I love serving.
Yeah.
Like that's my thing. Like if I go out to eat with my friends, I like to pay. You know, like I want to give. You know,
Dude,
it's just naturally
your
from
resume. I'm gonna put you out there.
We were just talking about doing PowerPoint slides for our friends.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I think it is a guy thing because even the receiving celebrating something, it's different. You know, like I care about my birthday, but I don't care enough for you to make a big deal
That's
about
my
it.
husband, and that's been like that was one of our biggest arguments in the beginning was birthdays. Because we celebrate birthdays big time in our family, and he doesn't. And so I was like, let's do something. He's like, but I don't want to. And I'm like, no, but we have to. But he's like, but why? I don't want to.
Yeah, I think it's the attention. I don't think men like to receive that type of attention as far as like the focus. If it's attention, it's usually 3 people with me, and I'm like, okay, I'm already used to this, and it's not a big deal because we're all integrating with with each other. I do believe it's a guy thing.
I do have a brother though who loves birthdays. He celebrates a whole week, and we all go as a family. He loves gifts, huh?
Yeah,
you're a witness.
He's a younger kid.
No, he's older than me.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, that's different.
He like loves gifts.
Wow, he's an outlier.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's what triggered this whole conversation, though, the receiving part, us guys. I thought it was just me. But it's a learning curve for me, but it's the whole spirit of giving, being around family, the important ones, I mean, what I mean by that, the one,
not his cousins, not his tia.
It's like you have a list, Ramsey. You're gonna pull
what
it out?
I mean by that is because we look
the ones that he doesn't visit.
there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Like the ones that been in my life.
All right.
You know what I mean? Because you can have friends that are just friends, and you can be family, and it sounds bad, but it's the truth that yes, you're family and blood, but like you guys are not really
Right.
there.
Involved.
You're not doing life.
Yeah, not doing life with each other. You know what I mean? Yes, of course they're family. You can be there, but it's not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not. Let's not kid ourselves. But yeah, that's why I said that. Yeah, but yeah, that's for me. You know, now it's just it's I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. Yeah, me and my wife been married for 4 years. 4 years now. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a learning curve, but I'll get there. I'll learn how to receive gifts and all that. But
Me too.
yeah,
Yeah. I'll give you jewelry next time too.
it was easier. It was easier me giving you that. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
could tell by your body language,
Yeah.
like you,
Well, it was the same because I gave him a gift last time too, and it was the same idea. Like, but it was for
it's over there. But it was a joke
yeah,
though.
it was a
It's
trophy.
different.
It was
It's the trophy on top.
Yeah, I gave him that.
Yeah,
Eat more beans and get stronger.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So it was a joke. So it was a lot easier to receive that. So, but yeah, that's for me. But enough about me. Let's take a little break. Shout out to the sponsors: Magicmind, SeatGeek, W Energy. For Magicmind, use code ShadeOfBrownPod for 20% off your order. They're having a sale. And SeatGeek, $20 off. Use code ShadeOfBrownPod20 for your first purchase. You guys like sports?
Yes.
Music?
Yes.
Use our code.
All right. You got it. You got it.
$20 off. That's of your parking ticket, right there.
Yeah.
Helps us out, help yourself out with that.
Nice.
W Energy, if you live an active life, fruit extract coffee. It's a better alternative than your normal crazy pre-workout. You don't get the jitters with this one. It's a lot healthier. The crash is not crazy either. It's more sustainable. And Shade of Brown Paw, 10% off your entire order. There's a bunch of other stuff. Christmas is upon us. Yeah, there's that. And then last but not least is we're over here at Inview Media recording here. This podcast is powered by Inview Media. We got Irvin right here, the owner right here. And you're still doing the photo booth?
Yes, sir.
Plug yourself in with that.
So, of course, those that don't know, I do real estate videography and photography and also marketing videos for small businesses. I also do headshots and podcasting. I rent out my rooms. And now we are doing photo booths. So anybody that has an event out there, either corporate or like a wedding or anything that's you want to celebrate, please contact me at Inview Media _ on Instagram. Or if not, you could email us at www.inviewmedia/media.com. And there you go. It comes with digitals and prints. So
Nice. He's a businessman over here. And then I'm going to try my best to always remember this one. We have a little store on Amazon. We have a couple of products there. If you want to start your own podcast, you don't want to spend too much money, and it's easy to use. It's not crazy technical things like these crazy cameras over here. But you want to start, go on our bio, the link in the description, tap that. You'll see the list of stuff. Get a few things. Help us out. Help yourself out. And start yourself a podcast. Today's world is more accessible now. And we'll be right back.
let's go.
Show. All right, we are back. Okay, so I brought a few drinks for our guests. It's over our sponsor over at Magicmind,
So that they could loosen up.
so they can loosen up. No, sorry.
Wow.
They're too tense.
Sounds a little sketch.
So yeah, this drink, calms you down, sharpens your mind. Yeah, so it's supposed to go along with your coffee or without. It doesn't matter.
It's weird that you guys are just staring at
I
it.
know. Why aren't you guys taking it?
Oh yeah, it does look a little fishy,
It
right?
does.
No,
Dang.
but everyone who watches Shader Brown listeners already knows the deal. All right, there ain't nothing weird happening.
It's green.
And it has-
right.
With 12 magical ingredients.
So
Not gonna
if you
say
guys you can
leprechaun.
drink it and then give your honest opinion.
Yeah, live review.
Live review on the
Yeah, we
pod.
want the sponsor to keep sponsoring
You
us.
can either scoop to those sips or just take it down. Whatever, doesn't matter. Oh.
Oh. Did you just take? Oh, I thought you took all of it.
Oh no. It actually tastes pretty good.
Yeah, it's not.
It tastes fruity.
Mm-hmm.
I feel my mind coming alive.
It's alive.
Yeah.
It's deceiving. I thought it was going to be like vegetable tasting because it's green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fruity.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Not bad.
it
Not
takes
bad.
away like a sweet tooth, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you guys liked it?
Yeah,
it was
I
good.
did actually.
Vitamina.
Vitamina. Shout out to Magicmind.
Start breaking out.
I know. Ask me again in like 15 minutes.
They're doing push-ups.
All right then. So let's continue on. I want to bring up this topic right here. It may trigger some people, but I think it's the perfect question, because we got a good dynamic going on right now as far as relationships. So question, like, it's not a question, but it's a topic that titled "New Age Relationships versus Traditional Relationships." New age, as in what I've seen. It's like when a man and a woman, the man doesn't really care what the woman's doing, kind of like lets her do anything what she wants to do type. That's like I see it as like a new age thing. There's no boundaries or set or some foundation, basically. I don't see that as a good foundation. That's one example. I don't know if you guys want to give out another example of like this new age stuff going around.
Well, no, I want to go based off what your definition
Yeah.
is, obviously, so that we can.
Basically, like a woman doesn't even tell her man what she's gonna go do or whatever. She just goes out and about. Because I've seen it. I know
wow.
somebody
Who is it?
personally
Call them
that
out.
is like that.
Oh.
And they've been together for years.
Mm.
I don't know if it works, but they're still together. But it sounds like, do you even care? Because you sound like you don't care.
Yeah.
But somehow you guys are still together. Like, is it you guys are doing something outside your relationship, or what's going on? Or are you guys? I don't want to say like, are you guys in an open relationship? I don't want to disrespect them and say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've seen it.
Got it.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. You guys have a take on that or a different example?
What's your-
with this new age stuff?
What's your definition of traditional?
Traditional, we basically spoke upon it, earlier. Man and a woman, man being a leader, a woman is looking for somebody to submit to type thing, I think that's a good way to put it of a starting point of a traditional relationship. I can smell the magic mind way over
I
there.
know.
It's potent.
It is.
But yeah,
It's not working. The magic mind's not working.
Give him another one.
No, it's because you said something. I don't want to get off topic.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's giving him too much energy. Should have taken half.
I know. I took the. Oh my gosh! You have another one? I just want to, I guess, define submission because I don't want. I feel like, and I think because we're so traumatized from like the generation we grew up that we think submission as a negative word, right? Like my husband says, I have to do this, this, and this, and I can't do anything like that's not the way submission should work, right? And so I just want to make sure that we give this healthy example of what submission looks like so that we're not going into this with a biased perspective.
What I mean by submission is like a woman looking for a certain man to submit to, like something worthy to submit to.
Okay,
That's
love
what I
that.
meant. That.
Yeah, that's good. Perfect.
Perfect. So then the question is, what's the difference? Or are
the difference between a new age and a traditional one. Because it's 2020. We're about to go in 2025, and there's a bunch of weird stuff happening now.
Yeah, there is a lot of weird stuff. Kind of like a caveat to that is I recently saw this. I'm sure you guys have seen it, of like this girl who's like made it her goal to like sleep, who slept with like 100 men in like 24 hours.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then from there on, she was like, now she's trying to make it her goal to do like 1,000 men
in one day.
In one day, which mathematically I don't know if that's gonna work, but nonetheless, that's not my thing, right?
Yeah.
But my thing about that, right, is if you were to see interviews with her, then she talks about how she's like, oh, you know, the poor guy that ends up with me, like he's just gonna have to deal with it and blah blah blah. And I think that's a lot of the problem that's going on right now, that a lot of people aren't, again, generational minded. They're not legacy minded. And so they're just thinking about the quick satisfaction, right? Like right now I'm lonely, so I'm just going to go hook up with anybody and I'm going to say yes to anybody. And that creates, sorry, excuse me.
But isn't it crazy to think that as a female, what would be your motivation to want to sleep with that many men?
Yeah.
I think it's just more on the aspect that everyone's their own celebrity now. So everyone's just trying to like uphold
That's
this
it.
like,
Yeah.
okay, that's what this person did. You know, Kim Kardashian slept on and then she blew up. Now let me do
see
something
what
else,
you're
you know?
saying. Yeah.
Like the Haktua girl. She
Yeah.
just said something controversial and all of a sudden she has a podcast.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I think that's where it's going towards. Like they're trying to up one
That
each
makes
other.
sense.
Yeah, like that shock factor. But I think that is a problem, right? Because again, she even was interviewed right after that and she was like crying because she's like, it's not what I expected, you know, in a sense. She was like, I didn't have the time to talk to these men and blah, blah, blah. And ultimately, I mean, duh, right? But ultimately, I think that's such a reflection, right? Because people think that having even, you know, let's discuss no further than having intimacy out of marriage. Like there's not a place of safety. There's not a place of covenant. There's not a place of being in a place of commitment with somebody because I think some people use that as a way to get other people to stay, right? Or as a tool to manipulate other people.
Got a question though. Why was that chick crying over for?
She was, she got emotional. She got emotional because the way that she felt after, like it was empty. She wasn't.
But what was she expecting after that though?
No,
like
exact. That therein is the thing, right? That society is working in because it's like she's feeling this brokenness, and in that same breath, or maybe not in that same breath, but in that same like train of mind, she was like, okay, now I'm gonna go for 1,000 men. It's like, all right, like, are you computing what you're saying, what your body is telling you? Like you weren't designed for this, you know?
Also, I'll even bring that to like the guy's point of view. Like a guy is not gonna take her seriously whatsoever, ever.
Yeah.
You know, and no guy wants, you know, like a guy with a good foundation, good upbringing, or at least a decent upbringing.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
You know, wouldn't want that. Wouldn't want to touch that.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
You know?
there's a lot of guys that will take anything at this point because of how lonely they are and navigating the world where they don't understand what even a good woman is.
Yeah.
Like, I had a date, I think last week, and just the fact that we went in and out and she laid out our food on the table and the way that it made me feel, I'm like, it made me feel good, but even that to me, it's like so foreign now. You know, like that concept of like, oh, I bought the food, but you at least prep it. You know, and like, but it's so foreign. Like that equal exchange is not there anymore. So a lot of guys don't even get the first date. You know, so they'll take anything at this point.
That's true.
It's interesting times nowadays.
Yeah.
That chick is a delusional world for her to think that she was gonna have a different outcome, kind of thing going on.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm using her as an example, right? Because it's just what society is creating now. Like she's getting clout for it. She's getting recognition for it.
That's right there, clout chasing, doing idiotic things to receive a temporary satisfaction and a long-term regret.
Yeah, which sucks. Honestly, it sucks. And then, but how do you avoid that, right? How do you even find value in a traditional marriage, in a traditional relationship? And I think it's hard, right? Because people look back and then we come from like the machismo and like men where it's just like either the women don't talk or the men don't talk. There's never been a straight up balance. Yeah. And even going back to what you were talking about, like the society as far as music and stuff. I mean, I grew up listening to the nonsense, right? Like, and so then you either grow up thinking like, oh, if you're like loose, for a lack of a better term. Then you're gonna get all the influence, all the relationships, all the attention that you want. But at the end of the day, you end up being like, excuse the term, but like ran over, and you end up like sad and depressed and used up. You know what I mean? And that sucks. And I'm not saying God can't redeem that. Like, you know, God is a God of redemption. I'm not saying that you're never gonna find wholeness and happiness if you choose to turn your life around. But it is gonna be at a cost, right? And so I think for men, it's harder for them because for them, more than anything, you guys are celebrated, right? When you sleep around and all these things and you're like having more than one woman. But even in that, like I think that's even such a lie from the pit of hell, right? That men find satisfaction in sleeping around with different women because ultimately men are designed to be protectors. Right. And so then if you don't have anybody to protect or something to build or something to get up in the morning for and be like, hey, you know what, like I'm going to move my family forward, then you become like the beta. You become that man that is constantly even being cheated on or constantly like having like that, you know, the short, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like just having like this problems with like ego, you know what I mean? And so to me, it's just like, you know, honestly, it's really sad. It truly is really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like going back to that chick again. Like a man's not gonna want to protect that. No man's gonna want to protect that right there.
Like he walks through the streets and all the guys are looking at her.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm like,
Hey,
how
Jesus
do you know
wants to protect
everybody?
you.
This girl is so popular.
You know my friend,
right?
Yeah. It's like,
That's so
okay. So
crazy.
bring it now to traditional. What's like idea of a traditional relationship? What is your take on that? Traditional, Urban.
What do you mean?
What is your idea of a traditional relationship?
The concept of it?
Yeah.
I think the concept of the
Not marriage, but like in a traditional relationship. Let's tone it down a little bit.
I think just the whole in and out activity thing.
Yeah.
It kind of just it took me back, you know, to when I was in my earlier 20s because it was more receptive then to see that type of action. She is a little younger, so it was like, what?
Right.
Like I didn't know that you knew how to do this.
It was foreign, like
yeah, it
you
was super
said.
foreign.
Wow.
And but I think that's more of the traditional thing where, you know, I like to provide, I like to serve, and then she gives me her initiatives as far as like showcasing just those small little actions, you know, like it's very traditional. She wants to show me, you know, like, oh, you bought the food, but let me serve you the food, you know. And I think that's kind of where it falls in for me, that the dynamic of what you're kind of
So what did she do exactly? Like,
well, literally we ate, and for me it's like I'm so used to just taking everything out, you know, like just she had her bag, my bag, and she had her bag, but she grabbed my bag and she laid out a napkin for me, and then she got my fries, and I was like, what are you doing? She was like, oh, I want to serve you your food, but I'm so used to just grabbing, right?
That's so cute.
So I'm not used to that. And then even after we were done, we were watching a movie and she started cleaning up. And when I see someone cleaning up, initially I just want to clean up because that's how I was brought up. Like you don't just watch somebody pick up stuff, you do it yourself as well. And I started, you know, cleaning up, and she's like, no, I got this. Once again, it's very rare to see that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Can I give a round of applause?
oh, wait, yeah. Let me give her a round of applause. Right.
Dude, she's
There
a
you go.
keeper.
Right. So I would say I would define, I guess if there's any way to define it in a simple terms, that would be my way of
That's a good example.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that, because I was like, what did she do? Like put the fork on one side and then like
literally, but it was in and out, so there's
like
no fork.
a little napkin.
No, not that far.
And I think what I'm hearing from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think for you, or from what it sounds like, traditional relationships, it's both the people willing to serve one another.
Willingly. And I'm not saying, she's not saying, I think it has to come from the person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's a big difference between the new age and traditional. Is the new age, they are expecting to be served. Traditional says, I want to serve. Like it's like, let's see who can outserve each other. You know what I mean? And in a healthy manner. But
That's great.
That's really good.
Yeah. And then also I guess the opposite side would be where the woman wants a traditional guy, but herself isn't traditional in her sense. I think that's where it collides.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that doesn't make sense right there.
But I see that a lot. I see that too often. I'm like, well, what do you like? You want me to pay for the first date, but yet I see you on your phone and I know I know what Instagram is. It's a dating app.
Yeah.
Like what's the
Is
tradition?
it?
Yeah, it's a huge dating app.
He calls it a dating app.
Oh,
It's basically
okay.
a dating app. Yeah.
Good to know.
I'm like, okay, it's just not, it doesn't fall into the tradition, because if I'm talking to you, like, why are you entertaining other men? Even though we're not technically boyfriend and girlfriend, but I'm still talking to you.
Absolutely. Respect.
Yeah, exactly. But once again, it falls into the modern world of dating.
I have a question. Oh, sorry. Go
I
ahead.
was going to ask him something, but go ahead.
This is random, but I want to ask you from a male perspective. Let's say that you just started dating this girl last week. Are you going to buy her a Christmas present?
Yes.
Ooh, my point.
Nice.
Yes.
But that's different.
No,
That's
it's not.
Okay, let me present it to
So
you.
why the question?
Because in one of our latest episodes, that was
Coming
our
next week is so funny. You guys should watch it.
that was like a big question, and there was a lot of differing opinions on the panel because it's like, let's say you just started dating somebody within like the month of Christmas.
It shouldn't be expected, but just the way that we're talking about willingness, it should be upon me if I want to or not.
Yeah.
And it's upon her if she wants to or not. If I get her something, she doesn't get me something. There's no feelings in my end. I'm like, oh, you didn't get me. Like, no, I wanted to give you something.
And so part of what I believe is part of a traditional, it's that.
Yeah.
You do get somebody that, it doesn't have to be humongous, but it's the thought.
But wait. Let me bring
Is
some
it too
context
soon?
in.
I'm not going to get her jewelry. I'm not going to get her some iPod or AirPods or anything.
I think a gift is fine. But the question that we posed on our episode was, do you bring them to the function? Like, do you take them to your family
Not yet,
gatherings?
not yet,
Thank
not
you.
yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Thank you. All of a sudden,
That's fine.
No.
I said yes.
I had so much pushback, you guys, because they're like, it's been a month.
Yeah.
Why don't you know? And it's like,
For me, it's 6
no,
months.
6 months. That's
6 months.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, why 6 months?
Yeah.
Because you have to protect the family. Yeah. You don't know who the person is because in the beginning, it's the honeymoon stage, they're showing you the best. And I need to vet.
Nice.
Yeah.
But don't
that's a
you
good
want to
one.
see how they act around your family so soon?
No, because I am overprotected when it comes to my family.
Okay.
Yeah. First my family, then whoever wants to come in, then I'm like, all right, she's ready. And then, and I know my family too.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Damn. I like how you said that though. I like how you
falling
said
in love with you right now.
I like how you said that though. That's
Yeah.
good. That's very good. That's very good. Good example right there, guys.
Good
Take
example.
notes.
Take notes.
Yeah. So you don't feel like that's too soon? kind of
Too soon what?
like you barely went on a date
Yeah.
a week ago, and you're already gonna get him a Christmas.
No,
present.
she said a month. She said a month. This the hypothetical, right?
Yeah, it's hypothetical.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
okay.
it's been a month almost if you think about it, because if you
Yeah.
went last week, it was like the beginning
it's
of
been-
December.
Well, I guess it would just depend on are we still talking daily, or is it just like the connection? Is it strong
Absolutely.
in the beginning? Because I've gone on dates where I'll go on a date and I don't talk to her for a week. I'm like, okay, she's maybe interested, but once again, Instagram. That whole the grass is greener on the other side, so I have to keep pursuing her. But if she's making it easy, where I'm like just talking and I could see the mutual conversation coming through, then I'm like, okay, there's something here. And I'm not going to overspend. I'm not going to
course.
go all out
Of
and everything. I'm
course.
just going to show her like,
Yeah.
here's Christmas gift. That's it.
it's a thought.
Yeah, it's just a thought. Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think? What is your take when,
We're interviewing you now. Welcome.
like, let's say you're dating? I mean, I'm going to you because I'm married, so that's why I'm asking you. Like, what is your take when like you're seeing some girl, and do you think girls have like a roster?
Yes, they do.
Yeah?
They definitely do.
A roster of what?
A
Like
list of
guys.
guys. So they call them friends, unfortunately. And this is where my boundary as far as female friends is non-existent. I do have one friend that is a girl, but from the beginning, we've been friends for 7 years. From day one, I'm like, I don't have friends that are female. And I would explain to her, like, we are two different species. Subconsciously, I want one thing, and I don't want to put myself in a position where I wreck the friendship because me being a guy, you give me an inch and I'll take the whole pie, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to put myself in that category because I do want to serve and I want to give you more.
Yeah.
And that becomes a habit too.
Yeah.
And I do see a lot of girls that do enjoy that habit. They have a lot of male friends. Hey, I have a fridge that broke, or my car, or something always happens where they call that friend like, oh, my boyfriend broke up, and now they want to be catered to. And I'm like, that's time wasted. I would rather establish a relationship with someone that actually wants to establish a serious relationship with me. So yeah, I'm not the roster thing. It's more, yes, they do have rosters, but they call them friends.
No, I agree. If you listen to me on our podcast,
sounds like you have.
We're huge. I don't believe that a guy and a girl can just be friends because somebody along the way ends up catching feelings because just the way we're wired.
Yeah.
And I think you said it perfectly. By nature, you want to give, you want to serve, you want to protect, right? So if there's somebody of the opposite sex that's giving you that, you're gonna want to, like take the whole pie.
Exactly.
So I agree.
Yeah.
I think that creates even more problem, like when a girl has a roster, because now there's an element of like you feel like you're chasing her.
Yeah, and
Because she has a roster.
Exactly.
You're not pursuing her anymore,
Yeah.
but you feel like you're chasing her.
yeah, but I'm fairly direct from the beginning. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, do you have a guy best friend? And if they say yes, I'm
Red flag.
yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it. Smart man. It's a smart guy, Ramsey. Keep him around.
So what makes a man husband material?
Oof.
I'm gonna ask the chicks.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting all the questions over here.
Yeah.
I didn't take Magicmind.
I'll let you answer first as a single girl.
Like, you're the one that's married. I need to glean.
So, what makes a man a husband material?
Yeah.
For me personally, it was seeing his character, ambitious, right, goal oriented. His mindset. Is he a go getter? Is he one that dwells on his? Everybody goes through life, right? Like we all have a story. And I'm not trying to diminish that, right? Because I mean, we can all sit here and share something that's obviously like impacted us in a very negative way. But it's like, how do you overcome? Like, I want to see how you overcome obstacles because in marriage, there's going to be obstacles. In marriage, it's not going to always be rainbows and butterflies. So I want a life partner that's going to be willing to fight in the trenches with me, that's going to pray for me, that's going to protect me, you know, physically, spiritually, emotionally.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's that. And that's who I married, right? As a husband who is a fighter. And I mean, he's a Marine he's a Marine. So, and by nature, he's already that. But now he's being able to tap in on how to protect my heart and how to protect me emotionally, you know? So I think for me, it's seeing those characteristics and traits of somebody who's willing to be in the trenches with me, you know, somebody who has the same, for me, it was like, I want to be married. I want to have kids, but I want to raise my kids. I want to homeschool. I homeschool my kids. So it's having those same visions, you know? And I'm not saying we're both perfect and we both had everything, but we are able to communicate. And so communication is huge for me, being able to have dialogue and being okay with, you know, we're not always going to agree, but let's find a middle ground. So
it's not always happily ever after.
no, it's not. And it's like, how do you deal with disagreements? Because you're going to have disagreements, right?
Yeah.
So it's seeing all these different things and saying, okay, am I willing to do this with someone for the rest of my life?
Yeah, it's growing together where learning. There's always gonna have that. Like my wife, I'm sure you can relate because we're the two that are married here. Your husband probably does something that annoys you.
I love that you keep saying that.
Like it means something over here.
You know, like your husband probably does something that annoys him, right?
Absolutely.
You probably do something that annoys him.
No, not yet. Absolutely. Yeah.
And we push through that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the beauty of it, of the
Yeah.
relationship part too. It's not all happy.
It's not.
You know, it's not. It's work too.
Yeah.
It is work.
And you should really find a man that you're willing to, like I said, go through like the darkest valleys with, and you know that you're gonna come out on top, winning. You know what I mean? So it's for me because it's so easy to paint the perfect Cinderella picture, but it's like, let's be realistic here. Like
Movies, they be
they be
doing
Disney.
that.
I love Disney sometimes, but they create the false narrative.
They praise the cheating. A lot of movies that are romantic, it always goes on to the idea that, like The Notebook, you know, it's a good romantic movie and everything, but if you really break it down, I'm like, okay, she falls in love, then she gets engaged, but she still thinks about the guy that she fell in love with, then she's engaged, but she goes back to the guy, then she breaks up the engagement. I'm like, bro, she just cheated on the guy. And then same thing with Titanic. I'm like, she was engaged and then she found this guy. And
Dude, there was room on that piece of board. There was room, bro.
And then she
was
killed him at the end of the day. And then she killed him.
I actually sent her a meme yesterday from the Titanic. It's like this, like the fairy tale of this girl slept with the homeless man and then left him out to die. Like if you really put it into perspective, like what you just said, that's the reality of it.
Yeah, but we praise it though.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the thing.
Yeah. What about Melissa? What are you looking for in the man then?
As a husband.
I'm looking for somebody in finance. Okay. I'm kidding.
I remember this one episode. I don't remember who said like, "Oh, let me check your bank."
Thanks.
Oh,
Someone-
That was
statements.
Shekinah.
Yeah.
That was Shekinah, wasn't it?
Yeah. But okay. Let me backtrack.
I didn't mean to derail you, but yeah.
Okay, so to address that about the bank statement is because where you put your money, that's where your heart is, right? And so how you spend it, how you do all those things, it really shows you a lot about a person. And obviously you want to know if he's going to be able to support you. Like, as a provider, it's such a hard balance, right? Because you have to be willing to build with somebody. And so, because even though you start dating somebody and they may be at their best time in their life and they're successful, right? You never know. Like, one of you guys can fall sick or, Biden gets into office. Sorry. But things of that nature, right? And where you can't control these things and you want to make sure that it's somebody that's able to provide. And then from that moment forward, to answer your other question about like what I look for in a husband, I think is somebody that knows how to honor, somebody that knows how to be loyal, somebody that's teachable, and somebody that does the practical things, right? As far as the providing protection, the way that they show that in other aspects of their life.
Beautiful.
It's like you had it written down somewhere already.
And you practiced that.
I know.
Yeah.
She did,
She has that on her resume.
I know.
And Urban, what about? Okay, now it's us guys' turn.
Yeah.
What makes a woman wifey material? What do you think, dude?
I think it just falls into the same thing that we were talking about, the willingness as far as like what she wants in a marriage. And of course it has to, I guess we have to have that same alignment, Does she want kids? I want kids.
Right.
There's a lot of girls now that don't want kids.
Yeah.
And that's a question that I do ask, and I do ask it in the first date.
Good. Look at you.
Yeah.
He ain't wasting time.
I like it. A guy that knows what he wants.
Yeah, I don't like to waste the time. Like maybe when I was in my 20s, like I'm like, because I didn't know.
I don't mean to like derail you either.
But I'm gonna do it anyway.
But like when you do that, do you feel do they ever tell you like, yo, this is too soon to ask me this question? Do they ever tell you like?
No, I don't think I've ever gotten that. I don't think girls are that confrontational. I think they'll
tell their friends.
Yeah, they're more the passive aggressiveness, if anything, will come out. But I've never dealt with that. Like.
But they'll answer though.
They'll answer. There's one that wanted 3. I'm like, all right, cool. The 3's fine, but I want 2. 3's a lot. It's a lot of money. But that's fine. She at least said yes on the kid part. And I think just the direction, where also if she wants to stay out here. A lot of women don't want to stay in Palmdale, which is fine. Yeah. I get it. It's boring, but I'm not going anywhere. Right. And I'm not going to follow anybody anywhere either. Yeah. So I've established my business. If she wants a foundation, I've already established it.
Wow.
So I guess just those questions as far as like, where do you see yourself in 10 years, and how are you with your family? Yeah. Are you family oriented? Also, her Instagram's a big thing for me too.
Sounds like Instagram's a big
thing. So for me, like even before asking them on a date, I check them out on Instagram. So if all I see is selfies, it's a big red flag for me. Yeah. So there's a form of narcissism there. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I don't want to judge those that want to just post selfies, but I do want to see your mom. I want to see your brother. I want to see your dad. Dude. I want to see your other friends, activities. But if all I see is selfies, all I see is you trying out new outfits and all this stuff, I'm like, okay, you're peacocking. And I don't like that. So I guess those are just little things that I've kind of picked up on.
Nice.
I love hearing your perspective from a single man because we don't really have single men in the church.
You guys should have them as a guest.
I know.
I was thinking that.
Dude, just to hear your perspective is so cool because we haven't really heard it like that. So, but even like the Instagram, like the selfies, like that's interesting. Yeah. But I can see that. Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah, selfies are fine.
Right.
My mom takes selfies.
Of course, but you said it's the majority of it,
right? Majority.
But they're like this at this point of view.
I'm like just scrolling like this. I'm like, all I see is a same pose. All I see is the same.
They don't even smile.
I'm like, bro, it's all filtered. I'm like, okay, that's nah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's good.
I'm married. Okay.
Okay.
My wife will turn out to be everything that I was looking for.
Aww.
And I think maybe I could speak for the guys about this. It's like sometimes a lot of times we don't know what we're looking for. So like
He does.
I mean, yeah. But that's because it comes from a business standpoint,
Yeah.
and he stands on business. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so now, like, this is like a different
for
point
sure.
of view
That's a
over
good
here,
point.
right? So my wife, through her examples and the way she is, and continues to be towards me, is like me realizing, damn, she is the like what I've been looking for type thing. So like that. So it's more so of that for me, and yeah, like. Me and Melissa were talking before we started the podcast. Like, oh, I see you posting your wife's cooking all the time. Like that goes a long way, especially for a guy. You know, the saying goes to reach a man's heart through his stomach.
I agree, 100%.
You know?
I had a girlfriend when I was 28. She cooked, and I miss it. I'm like, bro, I miss the cooking.
It's a big
part.
one.
It's
Cooking's a big one.
huge. It's huge. Like in
But people take it as a negative thing. Like, oh, you want me to be in the kitchen all the time? You know what I mean? No, it's not like that. They said, and then it goes back to Irvin was saying, the willingness.
Yeah.
You know, that part, and she's willing to do that.
Yeah.
And I really dig that you said that. And she's willing to cook, but not like just cooking freaking little foods here and there. But they're like, damn, like this is the kind of stuff I see at the restaurants. You know, like that kind of type of thing.
she took her time.
Yeah, she takes her time like that. And I remember that, not to derail myself. This is one thing that I noticed about my wife, how much she is submitted to me, and I really super adore her for that. I saw on TikTok, it was going viral. It was a little trend thing, and I wasn't gonna post it. I just wanted to try it on her. It was a guy with his girl. I don't know if they were married or girlfriend or whatever, but it was his girl. He put the phone somewhere and hid it and started demanding, hey, babe, I need you to make me a breakfast burrito at 6 a.m. Okay, it's 6 a.m. because I got to go to work early and I got to go do this and that. So basically not asking her, but demanding it, right? So I was like, and then and in the video, the girl starts tripping on her. Oh, who are you trying to tell me what to do, this and that, like that, right? Like that. So I did this to my wife.
Oof.
Not the outcome that you guys think.
Right.
I put that. I did the same thing. I did the whole breakfast burrito thing, talk like that. Oh, I need a breakfast burrito, but I did it at 5 a.m. I said, let me push it a little earlier. I said, I need it by 5 a.m. because I'm going to head out early tomorrow. And she goes, but I don't know how to make breakfast burritos. Let me check TikTok and I'll make some. Like that recipe. When she did that, and she right when she said that, she went to go grab her phone and be like, I'm gonna search right now.
Aw, bless her.
That freaking got me when she reacted like that. I thought she was gonna say something else, you know, like that, like in the video. And it's those things where like I realize what I have.
Yeah.
You know. And it's those kind of things that a man looks for.
Yeah.
You know, and every day she reminds me. Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know if that answers the question.
But that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that the woman, like, it's those things, those little subtle things, you know, when they show it to you, like, hey, I'm submitted to you. Yeah. Look, you know, this kind of thing. And that goes a long way for us guys.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's because she's willing to be submitted to you because she trusts you because you've proven to her that you have her heart.
Yeah.
And I think that's in the intimacy that's lacking a lot is men don't realize that submission comes, right? When a woman feels that her heart is protected.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes this reciprocity of giving, right? And so, I feel like saying that.
No, it really does come when like she's comfortable enough to be that way, and
Right.
like the whole protector aspect of it, you know, and that tells me like, oh shoot, she feels protected around me, or like I'm doing something that she's willing to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, and it sounds bad, like for a better word, but like that exchange, you know, like for a better word.
Right. No, it's like I said, it's a reciprocity.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even with my husband, like in the beginning, I came out of very traumatic relationships. I mean, like extremely abusive. And so when I met my husband, he was so amazing because he would remind me, I'm on your team. Like, you know, because there was times where I would catch myself like being, I hate using this word, but being triggered, right? Because I mean, I was beat for like 5 years. So when I left that relationship and whatever stuff happened, like he was so patient with me. He understood that there was like a trauma there. And instead of him reacting to my trauma, he didn't. Like he found a way to help me feel safe or tell me like I get it, but like I'm on your team. Like, I'm not against you. And so even in that, I think that's why I'm so willing to like be submissive in the sense of I trust my husband. I know that everything he's doing is because he loves me. Like it's coming from a place of love. Yeah. And so even in that, that's how we established or he established with me that trust and that protectiveness is that he was willing to work with me through that, right? Because there's men that sometimes, and I get it, some men don't want to deal with women's traumas and they shouldn't have to, right? Like women, we should be able to fix them on our own. But when so just, I think that's also important to note is what are you doing as a man when the woman is reacting from a place of hurt when she doesn't really mean to?
Yeah, that's well said. There you have it, guys.
Was that a question?
I don't even know why I said that. Honestly.
No.
It sounded like a question.
Yeah.
The whole exchange part.
Yeah,
that's where it came from. Yeah, I mean, it sounds bad, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
It really is what it is. It's a damn, do I dare to say it's a 50-50 almost? But I don't mean it like in other ways, but I mean it as like the willing part, it should be around that.
Yeah, we like to say 100, 100.
100. There you go. That's better.
Yeah, because you don't want to get all of you.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
You're her soda.
I really did that. I think that's all I got.
Yeah.
That's all I got today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Real. Yeah.
I see you guys doing constant content, always pushing. It kind of shows like I'm a proud, kind of like damn, they expanding their wings and they took off. We
were really scared, by the way, when we were like, okay, like it's time to try this out on our own, but we were apprehensive, I guess is the better word. And then but Ramsey, and we were like, dude, like how do we break it to Ramsey? Yeah. And even Ramsey was like, yeah, like you guys could do it. Like it was so much encouragement. And I think we just want to honor you for that, honestly, because it was hard. It was really hard. And people get really excited when you're starting something new.
Yeah.
But the ones that have stuck around, honestly, we can say that we know that you're always going to be on our corner.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that. Honestly, I think it's not common to find people that truly, genuinely want to see you succeed without them having any skin in the game. And I think you're genuinely that.
Yeah.
And so we appreciate you. We always shout you out whether you tune in or not.
Yeah, no, we really do. And I think, and you mentioned we're always putting out content. And I remember that was one of the things you always were huge on when you were with us is whatever you do, just continue to push out content. Like that was one of your, at least what stuck with me, one of your biggest advice. And I hope that by doing that, we're also honoring you, right? We don't want to take for granted what you poured in.
Yeah.
Because what you poured in, like, believe it or not, like even what we're doing is a fruit of what you did for us, right? So, and I love that. It's like this reciprocity of how friendships should be. So again, thank you for believing in us and just doing
I still do. I remember telling you guys, like, you guys have something. Like you guys no one's really doing it this way. And trust me, I tune in and check in with other podcasters, like, okay, that's their niche, that's their niche. Cool, like that. Yeah. And then when I told you guys, like, you guys have your own niche going on. Keep doing it, keep pushing, whether it's negative or not. Negative, even if it's a negative comment, that's helping the algorithm.
And just last story, because this one I think is stuck with us for some time. There was one episode, do you remember, that we did? And all four of us girls were like, dude, that sucked. Like, what were we talking about? Like, we were like discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
And
we wanted to redo it.
Yeah, we wanted to redo
it.
And we were like, hey, Ramsey, like, what do you think? He's like, no, you guys did good. Like, and it sat with us. Honestly, it sat with us. And it ended up being one of the best episodes that I think we did. And we're just like, dude, just...
And here we thought we wanted to redo it.
And Yesenia's like, just remember what Ramsey said. He says we're good. It's like, okay.
And the only reason why I remember that day.
Yeah.
I remember that because you have to remember, you're the guys are the ones in the seat
Yeah.
rather than the one viewing
Yeah.
the outside part of the audience. So always think of it that way. I was the audience in that room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the only one audience in there because I'm the one right there helping you guys. And since I said it out of that part, that's why I said that, because I was there listening and like, no, this is a good one. Like, we got tripping.
Glad we listened.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah. Anything? What's the future of in the Vine?
That's actually a really good question. It's a lot of transition is going on with Indivine. Yesenia, she's having her second baby soon, so she's gonna be out. And then a lot of doors have been opening up outside of Indivine, for us in the panels. And so, honestly, I think this next season's gonna look a little bit different. But we're still moving forward because I think one of the things that keeps us going is knowing that this was it was my baby, but it was with God's heart and mind.
Absolutely.
And so we feel like God is still breathing on it. So we're just
Yeah.
gonna continue rolling with the punches.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Keep pushing. It's that consistency. I think I have told you, like, the consistency really does go a long way, and it's that right there alone draws people in,
Yeah.
and it starts now. It draws people in, and then it starts opening doors.
Yeah.
Irvin. That's how Irvin and myself met,
Oh,
because he
cool.
saw the consistency of Shader Brown. And long story short, he invited me. He has his own podcast.
Oh,
And then the rest is history. He invited us on, and then we just hit it off.
Oh, well,
nice.
And the rest is history. And like that. That's how it happens. It's just like this. That's the journey,
Yeah.
and that's the beauty of the journey. And then one thing leads to another. You get an email like, "Yo, I want to sponsor you guys."
Yeah.
And that's how it is. Because why? Because of the consistency.
Yeah.
Solely because of that.
It's also the purpose too.
Yeah.
I think if you're doing it in a genuine way, as far as like what you're pursuing in life, I think you're going to meet the people that you're going to meet, like that you're supposed to meet. I mean, there's a lot of people that are entitled in their mind, wanting things, but they haven't pursued what their, I guess, the necessities for themselves.
Yeah.
So they'll never meet them. Or if they do meet them, they're not ready to meet them at that point because they've never gone through their journey
Right.
to actually receive, I guess, information from the person that they've technically should have met at the time. So me and Rams, like he said, we just met because he was doing his thing and I was doing my thing. And of course, being in the same realm of podcasting, you're gonna fall into that category.
Right.
So if he wasn't doing his podcast, I was already doing my podcast for at least a couple years already.
Oh, wow.
And seeing another podcaster out here, local podcaster, I was
Yeah.
excited. I'm like, wow, another person,
Right.
that likes to do the same thing that I do. Let me invite them, let me see what they're about.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that it's not a competitive thing,
Yeah.
right? It's all about bridging.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if more people have that type of heart, like we can move further in life.
Yeah, for
And it's
sure.
like, it's not me versus you. It's like together and me and you, right? And so that's actually something that I learned this year. My husband sent me a podcast. We love podcasts. And he's like, a poverty mindset is this versus this. A wealthy mindset says this and this. And it was from a business mind because my husband's a total business guy. So I was like, you're right. For so long we think of this competitive nature of this versus this. But it's like if we learn to embrace this and this, we just go further in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not to sound cocky, but I mean, when I first started Shader Brown, I purposely went in the entire like searching AV, like who's doing podcasting. No, not really anyone. Like, yeah, I see one here and there, but they're not really consistent there, And I not to sound weird, but it's the most consistent ones are probably going to be you guys and us.
Yeah.
And not to glorify ourselves in any way, but that's just how it is. And that's what it takes.
Yeah.
That's what it takes to do this thing. A lot of people see it external and they see it like, oh, it's easy to do a podcast.
Yeah, but that goes with everything in life. Anything that is hard is going to take a lot of effort.
Yeah.
A lot of people fall into the emotional side of like, it's new, I'm excited, but after a while it kind of fades. I'm like, do I still want to do this? And if you're thinking in that format, it's fine because we all have that, we're tired because we have our own things going on, but it's the love of doing it that will push you through to actually being consistent. And a lot of people don't fall in love what they're doing.
Yeah.
They just fall in love with the idea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can name so many episodes that I've done where deep down, I'm defeated, tired, sad, but I'm here doing it with a
Yep.
smile on my face.
Yep, that was us this season. We
for
went
sure.
through hell in a handbasket, and we still showed up, and we still did
There you
it.
go,
And
showing up.
Yeah, and it's crazy because a lot of during that season, we got a lot, or at least in my perspective, a lot more feedback during our episodes. I believe because there was just this rawness, right, and vulnerability of it, and so I agree, just showing up because God can use anything.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Plug in yourselves. Where can they follow you? Where can they tune in?
Do you take guys on Instagram? Let them know.
I always butcher this part. Okay, so we are at inthevine.connects on Insta and also on YouTube. And yeah, that's where you can find us. Obviously, you can find us on any streaming podcast, platform. But we're actually narrowing it down to mostly YouTube and Spotify. So yeah, you can find us there. Connect with us on Instagram. We love to make new friends.
Yes.
All right. Like and subscribe.
Yes.
Like and subscribe. Leave a comment in their platforms. Help them out. They're good people over there. I highly recommend them.
Oh, thank you.
I highly do. And that's it.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming. Shout out to Shekinah and
Yesenia.
Yesenia.
Yeah.
You know, the other two co-hosts that are part of, let's not forget about them either.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And hopefully Shekinah and Yesenia, they represented you guys very well.
Yes.
We'll see.
We'll hear about it.
Yeah. We'll ask you to take it down.
But you can follow us, Shader Brown, you already know. I don't gotta say nothing.
No.
I don't like doing this really, like the whole plug-in part, right?
That's part of the game.
It's part of the game. Do you want to do it?
No.
He said no.
Instagram and TikTok, Shader Brown Pod. YouTube, Shader Brown Pod. The podcast audio platforms, Shader Brown. There, I said it. But so thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Tune in on the next episode. Shoo!